Coming up, tips learned in the Ivy League, plus lessons from the gym that can help you study. This is Amara Academic Solutions. The demanding circumstances of being a pre-med biology major at Columbia University forced me to find interesting ways to stay focused, methods that can increase the efficiency of less intense studying needs. Oftentimes before a test, I would have a friend or one of my younger brothers quiz me on the material. It's easier when you have flashcards of things to memorize, like Spanish vocab, so they can just run through them with you. This will help keep you honest about what you really know. When exercising the creative process, particularly when writing, I find that the organization of my desk and the lighting play an important role. So be conscientious of your workspace. An uncluttered surface and dim, warmer light always helps me to think. Also, you don't want to be in a noisy environment. Some people need some ambient sound to concentrate. Others prefer quiet. If you listen to music while you work, choose the volume and the genre mindfully, as you may find yourself typing more quickly listening to a faster tempo. I noticed that my productivity goes up when listening to the rhythm of the rain. Otherwise, I'd rather study in silence. Going to the library served me as a motivational tool. There is something about being surrounded by walls of books reminding you of how little you actually know. Being around other hard-working students will further encourage you to study harder, especially when you recognize people from your specific class when you walk into the study hall and find them still there 12 hours later when you leave. For some reason, when picking a spot at the library, it was easier for me to focus when sitting by a wall as opposed to in the middle of the room, and in a chair that was comfortable but not too comfortable, because you don't want to help yourself fall asleep. Between studying, conducting research, and tutoring, I was too busy to sleep for most of the semester, but I learned to take quick 20-minute-long power naps to stay sharp. While it caught up to me eventually, I was able to hold off completely crashing until after finals. I also limited my caffeine intake to avoid desensitizing myself to its effects. That way, a cup of lightly brewed green tea would keep me from losing altitude at the library, and a Mountain Dew was enough to get me through one of those 3-hour-long chem exams. Meanwhile, my friends were drinking Red Bull just to get to class. Once you're addicted to that stuff, there aren't many options left for keeping you awake. A cold shower can sometimes give you a few more hours of strength before you're too tired to study. I learned this when walking back to my dorm room from the library late one night through a cold rain. I left the library exhausted, but walking through the rain made me want to take a shower, which allowed me to put in another 3-hour block of studying before I had to crash. This might sound funny, but associating an object with time dedicated to studying a specific subject is a good way to encourage your brain to get into that mode. Wearing a particular hat every time you start writing an essay will, on some level, build a connection between that hat and the mental processes involved in essay writing. So the next time you need to start writing, putting on your hat will help accelerate the writing process. If you study the same subject continuously for too long, eventually you'll hit this wall and not be able to absorb the material. Just as when working out, to increase the time spent targeting the same muscle group, you lift in sets of 10 repetitions each, allowing more total reps before hitting the wall than if you were to just continuously lift without intermittent breaks. You should study in blocks of time dedicated to different subject matter, rather than focusing on one subject straight through. Alternating between subjects will help maintain your stamina, prolonging the overall amount of time dedicated to your schoolwork.